Hey, I'm Kev Hillman. Welcome back to Monster Energy Supercross. As Kev Hillman was up and down last time out in Atlanta, can he get be a bit more upright in Toronto around the world, just centre? So we are north of the border in Canada for a few qualifying laps, just to get really creative with a track which Kev Hillman was very good round in his debut season in Supercross. Grabbed his first victory here. Been looking to do the same after having a pretty disappointing performance last time out. Not been so good in Minnesota in the first round. And with these championships just being 9 races long as well, you need to be on top of your form every race. That's a good set of jumps though. Getting into the hairpin. Okay, start one though. Just about making it through. Over the whoops, which are barely there. So Kev Hillman may have to get a strong result if he wants to stay up in the championship. Especially with Vegas. Anything can happen in Vegas. With both East and West meeting. That's a decent opening lap. Minute 1. Definitely has not lost it round here, even on a Husqvarna, compared to the Kawasaki last year. That first corner, perhaps the most tricky corner in this track because it's so high speed. Have to carry the speed into it. As you can see, you have to bow your way back onto the track. What are you doing, Hillman? Oh my god. I'm surprised he can stand up after that. But we'll have one more lap after this just to get used to the track. And then it'll be into the heat races where Hillman has performed very well in both rounds so far this season. So once again, not making that a triple. It could hurt me in the race. The momentum going into that hairpin. That's better into that left hand. Remember last season, I had so much trouble into that left hand corner, but much better here. As Canadians politely clap in the audience. So there you go, final lap then. That's not a good start at all. Surprised he stayed on his bike. Going into this first corner, you got that little bump where you got to just add the brakes before. You kind of line up how you're going to take that corner. So thanks to that bump, you can see taking the bait inside the lines, go over the whoops. And now the jumps. That's much better. Look at he's gaining loads. And the rider in front. Being forced to take the wide line. Can finally stay in front as we go over the whoops. Not really many whoop sections here. That's barely a whoop section. As all hits the blocks on the outside, that could kill his lap. We'll see. Let's go through penultimate corner. Now into the final corner. Off the banking, 58.7. And he is the top qualifier ahead of fellow Husqvarna runner Zach Osborne, the reigning champ, by 1.6 seconds. Then we've got Joey in third, Adam 4th, Jordan Smith in 5th, Devana 6th, Mitchell Aston 7th, Alex Martin 8th, Christian Craig 9th, and RJ Hampshire in 10th. So importantly for Hillman, he'd been in a different heat compared to Osborne as well. He'd be in heat 1, while Osborne would be in heat 2 with Jan Pollard at the back. Let's see what he can do in a heat race. As here we are, revving up at the start line, trying to lean forward, not really working. Just hold the clutch in and get underway. And same thing, everyone else waited for Hillman and then bunted him round. They're on to the first corner. A couple of riders have gone down because it's Cole Peters leading. Remember, top 9. It's where Hillman has to finish to get through to the main event. Or else they've been the last chance qualifiers. Well, he's batting his way through to 12th already. Trying to take the outside line, and then over this section he's pretty good over the jumps. And look at that, he's taken so many places. He's up into the lead. Ahead of Aaron Hamilton, Michael Cook in 3rd, Daniel Walker in 4th, and then you've got Leonard Workman in 5th. Very different top 5 from then what we're used to seeing, as all he hits the blocks on the outside. But a hammer survives, or high side, as he's now known. He's going to the final corner a bit wide. Have no momentum heading into the second lap, but he leads just ahead of Aaron Hamilton. Michael Cook in third, Daniel Walker fourth, Carl Peters up to fifth now, who we expect to be right up there. But what a turnaround. After that run to the first corner, getting muscled out, and then leading after these jumps as he just about holds on. That is not how you want to do the jumps. Definitely not to be doing that in the race. It makes it work for him. It's a 4-minute heat race, so we only got around 5-6 laps. And again, the main event will be around 12 laps long, around a minute that time. And then of course you've got a couple of laps added on at the end. It's Charles Costner up to fourth, Daniel Walker down to fifth. Still got Michael Cook and then Hamilton behind in second and third. It's halfway through this heat race. Going in the wrong gear. Still, Kev Hillman leading comfortably. And this has fun. It definitely seems to be better than the Kawasaki. Maybe it's just because he's riding better as well this season. I was about to say doesn't make as many mistakes, but then Atlanta happened and made a bucket load there. This is not a very good set of jumps, casing all of them. Going to be doing that in the race. It's all Aaron Hamilton dropping back. Michael Cook up to second. Charles Costner up to third. Daniel Walker in fifth. But they're still all making it through. Top 9 make it through to the main event in both of these heats. And then there's a last chance qualifier where the top 4 in that last chance qualifier make it through to the main event. So we have 22 riders in the main event who all score points. 22nd to 20th score a single point, and then it goes up in point increments into the top 5. You get 25 for the win, 22 for second, 20 for third, 18 for fourth, 16 for fifth, and then it's 15, 14, 13, etc. If my maths is correct off the top of my head. Aaron Hamilton dropping down to fifth. Now Charles Costa on the move. Up into third. Right on the tail of Michael Cook as well for second. Good showing. Probably not related to Kevin, I'm guessing. As he's not been taking the jumps well, Hillman in this heat race. Still getting away with it, as he's leading by a country mile, but that is something to look out for in the main event. Are those jumps. And that right-hander still whipping out the end despite there being a bit of water on that corner. Maybe causing him issues. He does his fast lap anyway as he head on to the final lap. Look at that, Benny down in 16th. Guy who's battling for the top 10 in races. You expect to see that. They'll be in the last chance qualifier. So go through hairpins and into the jump. Oh, that was better. That wasn't too bad in the end. As you've got to change up the gears. Got to change gears so many times around this course. As Mitch Harrison into the top 5 now. Smith in 4th. Here comes the class coming through the field now. Behind. There's just a couple of corners to go for Hillman. He'll be through to the main event. Oh, just about survives though. The final jump still does his fastest lap on the final lap as well. As he did a minute 0.4 in that final lap, half a second faster than any of his previous laps. As after 5 laps, he wins by 10 seconds ahead of Michael Cook. Great run on the Yamaha ahead of the KTM of Smith. And then there's Charles Costa on another Yamaha in 4th. Mitch Harrison on another Yamaha in 5th. 3 Yamahas in the top 5. And a couple of cars like Daniel Walker and Joey. And then you've got Leonard Workman in 8th. And Carl Peters, the last qualified, just ahead of Robert Mooney with Cameron McAdoo. Aaron Hamilton was so good for most of that race, dropping down to 12. Christian Craig in 40. Benny in 16th. And Gus King at the back. So let's see what Hillman can do in the main event. As before we go there, level 60 unlocks a new portrait, bronze 6.
Supercross has traveled north of the border to race in Canada. The roar of the crowd is building inside the Rogers Centre here in Toronto, Ontario, as the engines have fired. It's time for Monster Energy AMA Supercross and FIM World Championship. Grab a handful of throttle. Here comes the gate. He has the speed and is definitely the one to beat, but can he handle being in the spotlight and the pressure? Get ready. The gate is about to drop. Here we go.
So here's Kev Hillman revving up on the inside alongside Zach Osborne. Michael Cook in third as we get underway. And once again, everyone just lets Hillman go out in front as he's going to take the whole shot. And take the lead for the first corner as he's been hit from behind though. By RJ Hampshire, is that? No, it's Alex Martin. He gets landed on by Alex Martin. That was Charles Costner punting him on the Yamaha. It's this 10-lap main event. Already battling hard, our riders, with RJ Hampshire in second behind Smith. But now here comes Hillman down the inside of Smith for the lead. Can he get on switchback through the whoops? He can. So once again, leads in that takes the lead in that section. Now we'll be able to just race away like he did in the heat races. There's Smith almost into the back of him. Let's go through the final corner at the end of the opening lap. It's Hillman, Smith, Hampshire, Costa, Martin. Are your top five. Benny bossing last. He made it through. He's having a good race on his Honda. You can see Smith not dropping back either. So he gets into the back of Hillman. He tries to cut down the inside, but then over these jumps again. Hillman's so good. Not the best run, but that will do. Charles Costner still right up there in fourth on that Yamaha. Very impressive outing. Now that's Zach Osborne into fifth. 7.6 seconds behind his Valhazvarna runner already after a couple of laps. It's all a bit wide in the final corner. But a minute 0.6, already matching his times from the heat races. There's Hillman, and there's a 1.7 second lead over Smith. Don't know what line he was taking at the beginning of this third lap though. Missing out, dislodges all the blocks. There's RJ Hampshire up to third. Costner dropping out the top five. But that's much better over the jumps, using his weight a bit more there, Hillman. Not the best over those jumps though, but he still has a decent lead over Smith. Hampshire in third. Very good to see. Remember, Smith leading the championship heading into this round, so Hillman will take back the lead if he wins it. Or just finishes ahead of Smith in this position. You can see top 10. Got Michael Cook just outside it. Same for Adam Lorenzo. Got Jerry at the back, 21st. There's Kawasaki. Benny Boss in 22nd. Hillman already building a lead, almost 5 seconds over Smith. He loves this Toronto track. Plus being in Canada. He's all leaning back a bit too much over those jumps. Maybe got to start whipping it in the jumps, not just in the corners. This is definitely keeping the momentum out of the corners. Look at this riding. That's much better into the left hand. They've got a gap of almost 8 seconds over Smith behind. And that's much better into the final corner. Sets a 58.5. 7.1 ahead now. Looking further down, you've got Daniel Walker last. Joey's still in 21st. Sakos went up to 4th now, ahead of Alex Martin. Starting to charge towards the podium places. With Jordan Smith, ahead of RJ Hampshire. You see 5.9 seconds behind Smith, then 8.3 seconds behind is Hampshire, then 9.6. Sakos went over 10 seconds behind is Alex Martin. And so you're approaching the halfway mark of this race, almost 5 minutes in. And it's been a one-man show from our side, north of the border. Bet he wishes every round could be in Canada. Look at that 10-second gap now behind. He just rules that sector of the jumps. This almost goes down again, heading into the final corner. Drops into the 59s, but still fine. Looking further down the field, you can see Christian Craig down in 18th. Got some unusual places here. Some top riders. You don't expect to see them. As we are now into the second half of this race. That's a pretty good jump. Just keeps momentum up over those jumps. As he tries some kind of whip. I'm not sure what that was from high side. But he's now a couple of corners at least ahead of the chasing pack. He goes a bit wide into the left-hander. There's now Sakos one ahead of RJ Hampshire into the podium places. Well, Hasvana, it could be a double Hasvana podium. As you can see, Costner down to 9th. Got Carl Peters down in 16th, Lorenzo in 17th. Daniel Walker in last. Benny down to 21st. Joey finally making some manoeuvres through the field. So that's good over that work section. Can even keep it in further with how fast he's going through these corners. Kind of killed some of the momentum over the jumps. Oh, can he make it a triple? Ooh, just about. There's our Osborne on the tail, Smith behind. 4 seconds. Well, a couple of seconds gap, but it's definitely gaining on Smith. This is a little slide for the Canadian crowd. Kev Hillman. Through the final corner, sets a new fast at 58.1, almost into the 57s. It's got Joey up to 18th. As he's just in such a good flow around this track. I'm not sure what it is. I mean, lack of whoop sections maybe, lots of jumps, just suiting his style. Suiting Hillman's style, I don't know what it is. He's just out one with this Toronto track in the Rogers Centre. And he's just riding away from the field. Now it is definitely a battle for second. Half a second gap between Smith and Osborne. It's RJ Hampshire down to 5th now. Alex Martin up to 4th. I expect the positions to change quite a lot between 4th and 5th. As Dylan Fernandez on the charge up to 6th. Got Travis in 11th, just outside the top 10. Cameron McAdoo down to 21st. We've got less than 2 minutes to go in the main event, and then a couple of laps, so got 3 or 4 laps remaining. And Hillman has not made a single mistake this race. You can even see some back markers in front now. That's how far ahead he is of the field. How well he has ridden. And this is just the performance he needed to show after Atlanta, which could have been typical of his season like it was last year. There's always one up to second, Ella Smith. So RJ Hampshire dropping back now from the top 4. And they go into the 57.7. It's almost losing the rear. Don't know how he saved that. over the whoop section. We're down to second. Oh, that's not good. Just about holding on to the track. So even when he's not going that well for Hillman, he still managed to find something to save the bike and know what he could do in Atlanta. Maybe he is showing that he's a different rider this season with a season of experience under his belt of Supercross of 250s here in America and Canada. So that's wide into the final corner, else that could have been another 57. He's going to have 2 laps to go, including this one. And he could lap some riders in the main event. Riders who've had to race their way into this through the heat races, through the last chance qualifier. And Kev Hillman is just showing he is a class above them and everyone else in this race. So here we go, onto the back of, is that Kawasaki in front of the Honda? He's got quite a few riders in front for Hillman to that. Who so wishes before the end of this race. So he's getting no respect from the back markers. That's one down. Now down the inside of a couple as they're battling. It's the Honda. And I believe that's Cameron McAdoo. We've got Donald Blazer and Walker as well. Wanted to battle the leader. Don't want to be lapped in the main event. Bit embarrassing. But that is what is about to happen. They're not just the guys outside the top 20, some guys inside it. That's all he's getting pushed. What the hell is that? What the hell happened there from that rider? Just lost it and then pushed into Hillman. Hillman giving his some of it back to probably a different rider. So that rider wants to battle hard, does not want to be that. It looks like he will be. Let's go through the final corner and another victory for Hillman in Supercross. As Zach Osborne was 24.5 seconds behind after 12 laps. He's put out a couple of seconds and at least over the field. What a performance from Hillman ahead of Osborne. Husqvarna 1-2, then the KTM 3-4 with Smith and Martin. RG Hampshire holds on to a top 5 on the Honda. Pretty poor race for Honda once again, as he was just ahead of Adam on the Kawasaki. Then he got Dan Fernandez in 7th on the top Yamaha in the end, ahead of Mitch Harrison and Charles Costner. What a performance in 9th ahead of Joey, who recovered to 10th on his Kawasaki. What a ride through the field. With Michael Cook in 11th on his Yamaha, then Carl Peters in 12th on the Suzuki. The Soul Suzuki in the main event, and Travis in 13th, Pollard in 14th, Christian Craig 15th, Renzo, Devin Sorensen, then Leonard Workman and Cameron McAdoo, I believe, got into Hillman in the end. And you've got Donald Blaze and Daniel Walker that.
Fantastic effort by these riders. They put on a great show the way they battled here tonight.
So Hillman takes back the championship lead from Jordan Smith by a single point. With Zach Osborne in third, just 5 points behind his Husqvarna runner. We've got Alex Martin in 4th, Mitch Anderson in 5th, Adam in 6th, Joey in 7th, RG Hampshire up to 8th, Dylan Fernandez 9th, Christian Craig still ran out of the top 10 on his Honda. As we look further down the field, there's 31 riders scored so far this season. You can see that's Chaz in 20th on his Honda with just 8 points. So fantastic performance, even got the whole shot. Did Hillman, almost 100,000 credits earned. As he's unlocked a new title, King of Hell, Volcano and Forged in Fire, as he is definitely the rider to beat throughout the whole of that Toronto weekend, as he shows that he has some extraordinary talent. Alpine Star celebrates today's victory with him. It seems like rather just commentates when you win, then when you're good, you deserve all of our support. High size says Jason, should I say. You've got Daniel, I was sure about this lot, it doesn't surprise me at all. Today, High side, I want your autograph, says Katrina. I'm sure we could try and arrange that. Has Fantastic result for the fans, for Hillman, for his sponsor. And can he back it up in Daytona Beach, running Daytona International Speedway, race 4 of the season. He had some troubles there last season. He was in a battle with Christian Craig for the most falls that race. I think Craig just about won it, but Hillman was right up there. Can he be a bit more on his bike this time around? Thanks for watching, and I will see you then.